Every name you drop got roots in the grind. History speaks loud, just listen to the line. We struggle to shine, we honor the climb. Where losses hit deep, but sharp in the mind. Real don't flex, they just move with weight. Welcome to the legacy, room A-108, go to the legacy. Yeah.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to room A-108. I'm Amber, and the only thing that matters is the Bears beat the Packers. Bear down.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Room A108. I'm your host, David. Joining me, as always, my co-host, CJ. And like Amber said, bear down. And we stayed true to our word. Took a little break because we said if the Bears didn't pull through, we wouldn't come back on. I ain't have nothing positive to say anyways.
Going to hiding for a week.
Yeah, I didn't. I was depressed. But they brought us out of that depression.
Absolutely.
We'll get into that as we start talking about the game more, but I would say one of the happier moments as a Chicago sports fan that I've experienced in a long time. But just right off the bat, man, knee-jerk reaction to the epic win the Chicago Bears had over them other guys.
Man, it took you all the way to the basement for sure before it brought it, brought it back up for an epic ending. I'm still, a little perturbed by the 4th and inches call on the first drive of the game. And, just thinking about, and we can, maybe elaborate a little bit on this later, but, thinking about how different, the game, could have been, just lineup, Swift been doing this thing, Monunga been doing this thing, both of them, for the majority of the season, especially since the bye, and kind of just wish you just line up and run the ball, get the first down, and then go punch it in for a touchdown. And how different that game could have been if it would have went that way. But after the first 2 drives of the game, it was pretty much a snooze fest, until the last 3 minutes of the game. Other than the Malik Willis touchdown to Dobbs. That was the only touchdown in the game until, the heroics. Just, field goals, from Santos and McManus and, nothing of any consequence really, outside of those first 2 drives, Stadium was rocking. Green Bay comes out with the first drive and hands it back over on downs. Bears get the ball back, drive down, and then we line up in Wildcat and 4th and inches and snap the ball over his head. And like I said, still upset about it. Still wish it was different. We could talk about, get your feelings on that too. And like I said, how different it could have been. But, eventually, it's just a team that you got to play in for 60 minutes, man. Like, the team ain't going away, silently. They're not tucking their tail and running away. You're gonna have to play them, and you're gonna have to, have the lead until it's 0-0. So that's the biggest takeaway for me, outside of finally getting a win. It's good to be on the right side this time, for sure.
Yeah, man, it's there's a lot. So I saw this on like ESPN. I was watching the post game with Scott Van Pelt and Hasselbeck. Matt Hasselbeck. And it was the same thing for me because I knew we were going to have to come back on the podcast even with a loss. And they had a full script ready to talk about the Packers winning. So, I mean, of course, we had more days to think about it. But at first, I had just so many things that I was upset about. Can't really blame the defense. A lot of people are like, oh, man, how do you let Malik Willis come in and just run over y'all like that? He's not a slouch, and it's a totally different game plan. He's more athletic. He'll use his feet to get that first down. So it's just like you practice all week. It's like boxing or UFC, right? You're training and you have a camp and you're training for the specific person, and that person gets hurt and they throw someone else in. A lot of times that fill-in ends up getting the win because they're not prepared for him. So I kind of feel like the Bears were going through the same thing. I mean, but I was still upset about it because regardless, it's a backup. It was so many things that I was just like, oh, frustrating. And then, I don't know why we forgot. Maybe that loss made us forget because that was the first game this season that we didn't come through in the clutch, the first game against Green Bay. But I was just like, man, that's it, man. Like, we're not going to come back. And I'm like, man, shame on me. Shame on me for doubting the fact that we've come back 5 other times this season and just think that we're out of the game. But, I mean, they really they pushed it to the limit of this one. But, no, we did so much amazing stuff at the end of the game that I didn't even care about how I felt before that. Like, as angry as I was and as upset as I was watching that game, I just didn't even care. Because I was multiply that by 50, and that's how happy I was by the end of the game.
It's the first time in a minute that, we, can sing the praises of Cairo Santos.
Yeah. Actually had some distance on that field goal, 51 yards.
Yeah, he did some good things, playing the wind, and, dare I say, if a lot of us got our wish, with him not being here and maybe, Moody taking over,
might be different.
Yeah, it might be different, man. Those are kicks that, while Moody has the leg, he struggled, with some kicks in weather. So, I wasn't too thrilled with him with as long as it took for him to get that field goal off at the end. They weren't moving with a bunch of urgency, and I'm sitting there screaming at the TV, kick the damn ball, it took it all the way down to the other side of the 2-minute warning, which is not ideal, but it ended up working out because it forced them to have to, kick the onside. They recover, the rest is history. But man, they definitely didn't make it easy on the pulse and the blood pressure of all of us. That's for damn sure, man.
So I want to touch on the Cairo Santos thing because I had to check myself, man. So just quick backstory, health situations, I wasn't able to play football, quote unquote, in high school. So I didn't want to give it up. So I convinced the doctor. I was like, what if I kick? I've never kicked. I played fullback and guard in elementary school. So, look at me. I'm not a little guy. I'm not flexible or anything like that. Kickers are usually put their leg all the way up. I was like, can I kick? He was like, well, yeah, there's no contact, so I see no reason for you. So, cool, I'll let you kick. So I had to learn how to kick, right? So I only bring that up because I was so angry with Cairo Santos at the end of that. But I had to put myself back in that position. It's all about repetition, just like anything else. It's all about repetition. And in that moment, if he rushes it and does anything different and misses that kick, it doesn't matter rushing out there. It didn't matter. So I had to take a step back, and I was like, because I agree with you. I was like, dude, why are you taking so long? But he's like, man, it don't matter. I need to make this kick. That's what matters most. I need to make this kick. And I was like, yeah, he needed to do his routine. He needed to go through it. And whatever he did previously, he needed that comfort, and it worked out. I mean, it was definitely much harder because he did it on the other end of the 2-minute warning, but had he not made that field goal, that was it. That's ball game. So it didn't matter.
It's just as much frustration with the whole, with everybody involved as much as it is with him too. Like,
yeah.
And, it's easy for us to say we're not on the sideline. We don't know what's being communicated from Ben Johnson to Richard Hightower to the special teams unit. We not. It's just speculation because we're not there. But you can only wonder. What was the communication that was being held. As those seconds were ticking down, and was there, any were they being proactive with saying, hey, we got to get this off, blah, blah, blah. And you never know. But in the moment,
situational, right? You don't know. You didn't even know that moment was going to come up because at that point you're thinking touchdown, right?
Yeah, for sure. But in the moment, it was definitely frustrating sitting there. You watching the clock tick down, and you're like, dude, come on, man, kick the ball. But
get a little pep in there. But
I
like I said, I thought the same thing, man. I literally thought the same thing. I was like, man, you know what? What was most important in that moment was to make that field goal. And it's repetition, man. It's like a free throw, right? Everyone has a routine when they do their free throw. Imagine, Jason or Rip Hamilton not taking that side bounce when he had to do a free throw. He probably missed throwing it off. So that's what it's all about. You have a routine, and he just had to go through it. It was frustrating, but like I said, I had to take a step back and like go back to my kicking days and remember what it was like to be one of those others.
I think my biggest takeaway, on the grand scheme, after that game and in these few days after is, I think we could finally say that for the first time, in our lifetime, we have somebody lining up under center that can go blow for blow with the guy that they got lining up over, under center. For my entire lifetime, it's always been, whether it was Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, with some nut kicks, every single year.
Yep.
There was a time where we thought that, Cutler was, going to be the one to, go toe-to-toe with Rodgers. And for like a year or two, it looked good,
Yep.
for, that those teams with him and B. Marsh and Jeffrey, Forte, Martellus Bennett, like they put up some points. And they gave, Green Bay some fits, here and there, but nothing sustainable. It fluttered out pretty quickly, and we just always been on the wrong side of this rivalry, so to speak.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they've been the hammer, and we've been the nail year after year. But I think we can finally be confident that we got somebody that's lining up under center for our team that's gonna be there. He gonna go blow for blow, throw for throw. With Jordan Love. And for any, Packers fans who are quick to, kind of poke their chest out about, oh, we went from Favre to Rodgers to now Love. Like, Jordan Love got a lot of proof before you can start mentioning him in the same conversation as those two dudes. Those two dudes are, Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Famers. And, while Jordan Love is certainly more than serviceable quarterback and, definitely above average. Like, he hasn't done anything yet to, to be mentioned in like legend status. So
I've never heard Jordan Love and the word elite in the same sentence. Like, and I'm not even being. I mean, of course, I am biased.
I think Orlovsky is one that likes to, prop him up as an elite quarterback, and he's one of, if not the only ones. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, it's not. A word that's thrown around a lot when you mention him.
Yeah, I don't. So when it comes to him, I mean, I think he's a good quarterback, and I think I don't even know. He's arguably maybe on the cusp of top 10 around there. So, but I think Caleb is right there too. So, but I agree with you, man. And I mean, me, I've been riding on the Caleb train since we drafted him. I'm like, man, I think. I wanted this to be right, and we all did. But we had so much trauma from past quarterbacks that I think the fans were rightfully so. I'll admit it, rightfully so, a little pessimistic about Caleb. It's still not perfect world. Like, he's not the perfect prototype that we want, but he's what we need, and that's like, we need a quarterback that can win us games. And he has proven to be a quarterback that can win us games, right?
Yeah, and there are plenty more frustrating and head-scratching moments coming in the future from both our quarterback and our head coach. And that's just, the nature of who they are, as a play caller and as a quarterback. Like, they're not perfect. They're a whole lot better than, most of the other guys, but they're got their own quirkiness about them, and there's some things that are going to tick you off here and there, and that's one of the things that one of my homies said recently. Shout out to Juice. He was like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna have to live with Ben as the head coach. 98% of the time you're gonna love him, but there's gonna be some times where he gonna piss you off, man.
Do too much.
Like, come on, man. Like, and we saw it, during his entire time in Detroit. Whether it's linemen throwing the ball, whether it's receivers throwing the ball, whether it's trick plays in situations where it's just like, dude, just line up and play football and get this first down, and we can get back to that in a minute, man. We ain't got to do this right now. It's a lot of that, but definitely not jumping off the bandwagon. That's just the coach that we want here. This is the quarterback that we want here. But like I said, it's going to be, a lot more head-scratching moments to come in the future. But as long as it's coupled with some wins and some deep playoff runs, I don't think there's any Bears fan out there that won't take it. They'll take that exchange, 10 times out of 10.
There's a lot of things I want to touch on with the Bears. So I want to stay on topic, but I kind of want to move it to you and I were talking a little bit, but where does this rank as far as being a classic Chicago Bears win for you? Is there any other game you would compare it to? Just how does this hold up to games of the past?
The only other game that somebody might, hop in our DMs or in the comments and call us prisoners of the moment, but the only game that I can even think of that you can kind of put, in the same stratosphere would be NFC Championship game against the Saints that sends them to the Super Bowl. I was born in '88. I wasn't here for the '85 Super Bowl run, so I have no recollection of it. And anything outside of the Bears going to the Super Bowl in the '06 season, there's nothing else that you can, put, kind of in the same conversation, in my opinion. The 2018 win on Sunday Night Football against the Rams is a good one that a lot of people say, but that wasn't against Green Bay. That wasn't a game that put you in position to seal a playoff spot, and all of the things that kind of snowballed after that game going into Sunday with the playoff implications. So for me, I would say easily one, if not two, and the only other one that, in my opinion, that I would put up there to compare to it was, like I said, the NFC Championship game against the Saints, to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a dominant win too, so it's hard to top that. I have two. That come in mind that it didn't have the same playoff kind of vibe that this one did, but first one, you could pick either one. It was back-to-back games. It's 0-1, where Mike Brown had back-to-back walk-off pick sixes in overtime. Preferably, I like the one against the Browns. It was 21-7 with 1:30 left. We score, make an onside kick, and then with no time left, we throw a bomb. And do you remember James Allen as our running back? James Allen, throw a bomb to him, grabs it off the Cleveland's defender's back, scores with no time left. We get the ball. Cleveland gets the ball, throws it off somebody. Mike Brown catches it, houses it, pick six, win. And it's in almost the same way that we did against the Packers. Now, it didn't mean we clinch a playoff berth or anything like that, but just the emotion of that game, people were leaving, right? And it was like yeah, we're out, bounce. The other one is the epic, the Dennis Green game. We are who we thought you were. 6 picks, no offensive touchdowns, I think it was, and the Bears end up winning the game on Monday Night Football. And I picked these games because this game reminded me of it. Just take you on that roller coaster. Like, you're so mad because we're playing so bad, and we had no business winning that game. But this time, it felt like we could have. I believe this win. That's the big difference. So that's why I agree. I put this one over those, but those kind of remind me of it. So the 0-1 game against Cleveland, and I can't remember what year that was with against the Cardinals when the Dennis Green game was that.
That was the 06 season. Yeah.
Okay, well there we go. Yeah. So, those are only two I would really put up there. But I mean, especially being older now and being able to appreciate it, man, this is different.
Epic games, epic comebacks. But the only reason why I put this one, kind of in in the category of its own is, because of the opponent.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, it means more, obviously, to the city. It means more to the organization. It means more to, meathead fans like us, who hate everything about, that the green and the gold. So as much as that Browns game and that Cardinals game were epic, and everybody knows I'm a huge Miami and Devin Hester fan, and his rookie year running that punt back and dope, but I wouldn't put those above this past Saturday. I wouldn't.
So PTI, I watched it on Monday, coming right off the win. Wilbon is from Chicago. He's a native, and he threw this. He was pretty much saying what we all felt. And it does suck being on the losing end. Like 80s and 90s, we dominated the Packers. It wasn't even close. But the 2000s came around, and that's when things started going downhill. But the last 17 seasons, the Bears have won 6 games in 17 seasons. We played the Packers twice a season. So, yeah, I hate to admit it, but, like Aaron Rodgers said that quote, but like we were getting our ass whooped a lot. So to win against them this way, like I went to work the next day and there's a guy who's not a Packers fan, he's not a Bears fan, but he was like, man, this is y'all Super Bowl. I'm like, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. So it's not the Super Bowl, but it means a lot.
I hate everything about that passive kind of approach that some of them take, man. It's like, dude, because when y'all win, it's all in our face all the time. Y'all suck. We own y'all. This, and that. We win again, blah, blah, blah. But then when we win one, it's almost like, oh, well, finally, at least you won. Like, come on, man.
Take your losses like a man.
Yeah, like, finally, you should have won one finally, right? Like, get out of here with that, bro. I can't stand those type of things.
I saw a great Facebook post, man. I saw great ones because I started seeing the excuses just were the holding call. DJ Moore dropped the ball. Backup quarterback. Michael Parsons out. All the excuses. I saw all of them. The main one, though, was that Jordan Love got hurt and it was a backup. And they were like, oh, man, you couldn't win unless you won against backups. And then they had a list of all the backups that played against the Packers over the past 20 years. I mean, you got the Moses Morenos, Caleb Haney, Chad Hutchinson, just all these things. Like, you got the nerve to talk about us winning against a backup quarterback when you have only pretty much played against backup quarterbacks for the last 20, 25 years plus. So, man, Packers fans, especially the Packers fans from Chicago, take this L and just sit on it. You got to sit on it until next year unless we play each other in the playoffs, but I don't think that's going to be the case because on to the next.
You can tell by the reactions from not those fans, but the fans who put a little bit more, stock and emotion into it. You can tell by their reactions that
it hurt.
Oh, for sure.
I watched so many reaction posts.
A lot of them are acknowledging that like this is different now. This ain't just a fluke loss to Justin or a fluke loss to whoever was lining up before him. They know it, they feel it, they see it. They're like this is different now, and that's what sucked about it. They were like, oh, yeah, we coming, man. We here. We here, and y'all got to deal with it, man. And that's the cool thing about it for me, man, is just for them to win in that fashion and for them as a whole to know that, this coach and this quarterback is different and they're going to have to see him twice a year and it ain't going to be just the same, we come up there and then y'all come down here and there's 2 wins for y'all every year. Day's over with.
Let's quote Caleb, best coach / coaching staff in the world. So I agree, man. We got a team that's just as good for the near future for sure. So, but I want to kind of transition to this time last year. We're already talking about who we should be drafting with our high pick, and this year we're having a whole different conversation because not only did we clinch a playoff berth with Detroit losing in a crazy way. That was a crazy ending of the game. You and I were texting like, man, get the graphic ready. And I was like, man, when do I put it up? Because
doing all this for nothing.
Game ended like 15 times. I didn't know what to put up. I was like, oh man, I kind of took the sail out of the wind. But regardless, we're in the playoffs. But if we win out, it's a big if because 49ers look really good on Monday night. I'm not saying we can't beat them. I'm just saying that that's going to be a tough game, but we'll get there. If we win out and the 49ers happen to beat the Seahawks or they lose to, I can't remember who they play this week. We finished with the number 1 seed in the conference. That means all roads go through Soldier Field. And you and I both I mean, we made our predictions before the year started. You had 9-8. I had 10-7. I did not think we would be having this conversation. Number 1 seed in the conference. I did not think that was not on my 2026 bingo card at all. So,
well, you got a game coming up on Sunday night, like you said, against San Francisco. There's nothing really about their receiving core outside of the running back and the tight end that you should really be shivering about. They got guys who get the job done. No shade to them by any means. They, professional players, but I think the Bears have went up against some receiving cores with a lot more talent over the course of the year. Just thinking about, Dallas and Minnesota, for sure. Those two jump off the top of my head. And
Lions.
Kittle was Detroit, and Kittle, didn't even finish that game. He's banged up. He's got a sprained ankle, so we'll see what the week brings and whether or not he suits up. I expect him to, just because of the type of dude he is. But even if he's, just 80% of himself, that's a win for you.
Yeah.
Seattle is going to Carolina. They're going to be favored to win that game, but Carolina's won some games that, a lot of people didn't think that they would have won this year. So that's not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination. So, like you said, we could be sitting here, Sunday night going into Monday, and Seattle took an L in Carolina. You find a way to win in San Francisco. Now, like you said, you going into, week 18 as the number 1 seed and trying to handle your business at home against Detroit and see what happens. But it's all there for the taking, for sure. Like, they don't quite control their own destiny because they need some things to go their way. But, hey, if you handle your business in these last 2 weeks, the odds are pretty high that you could be staring at the number 1 seed.
So I want to say one thing, too. Like, even if we finish with the 2nd seed, personally, I don't see – I'm not trying to don't take this the wrong way. I don't want to downplay Seattle. But I don't see them making it to the NFC Championship. They could, but I'm saying I don't know if I see, like, that's just not my first go-to. I think there's too many other teams. I still think the Rams, that was a hell of a game, so that's going to go into what I'm going to say next, too. But so even if we finish with the 2nd seed, as long as we get a game or 2 at home, I think that'll be clutch. Super Bowl doesn't really matter because
I think the problem with Seattle is that defense is going to show up whether at home or on the road. But when it comes to their offense, you always waiting for Darnold to turn back into a pumpkin, bro. So
yep,
and it's like you never know when it's coming, but at least several times a year, like, you can count on it.
Yep,
and then it's usually at the worst time for him and his team. When you think about Minnesota last year, and hell of a regular season, and at the worst time in the playoffs, Sam Darnold turned back into a pumpkin, and now your season's over. So, like you said, that's not a game that I'd be sitting there, worried about in the same way I would be worried about, like with the Rams. But the Rams are definitely a team that you want to play here, as opposed to out there, in the dome, and you kind of want to get Stafford old, but out there in the elements, and make them earn it. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Things are looking good.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on the 49ers game because I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm very pessimistic about this game for 2 reasons. So I'm going to use a backstory again, but like at the job, I always talk to the guys. They're always doing – I do FanDuel and stuff too. I do all that, but they're really into it. And my one coworker asked me, he was like, man, what's a upset you would pick? I was like, man, I'll take the Jaguars over the Broncos. He was like, man, the Broncos, they're like one of the best teams. I'm like, yeah, they are. And they probably are a better team. But they had a tough game the week before. And same thing happens in college, man. When you beat up on a team that next week, you have that hangover. And that's what I was talking about the Seahawks. They had a tough game, so it's very likely Carolina could take this game. That's the same thing for us. And we're making that trip out to the West Coast. So I've never, in any sport, Chicago, West Coast is not successful the majority of the time. I mean, how many times have the White Sox lost to the A's out in the West Coast? Even back in the heyday when we were, hitters, You know,
Man, I got to the point in the latter part of my life where I don't even watch West Coast White Sox baseball because you got to stay up too late and you know they're gonna piss you off.
yeah.
So,
And remember the I don't even know if they do it anymore, but remember the circus trip for the Bulls? I hated that. We'd be gone for 2 weeks because you're going out on the West Coast, taking countless L's, and now we're doing the same thing. We're going out to the West Coast of San Fran. I'm not saying we can't win. I'm just saying we had a tough game. Injuries are really hurting us. And I'm like, man, I Bears fans, I want to say this. We had an amazing game against the Packers. A loss against the 49ers doesn't mean that's all just went away, right? 49ers have proven to be a really, really elite team this year. And I wasn't expecting them to be that good. I knew they were going to be good because of their coaching. Besides everyone, the doubters, I think Brock Purdy's a hell of a quarterback. And they still got McCaffrey.
He's gonna give you chances to get the ball though.
Yeah,
he's gonna put it up there for you to take advantage. You just gotta be in a spot when he does. San Francisco, 2 less days of rest.
Yep.
Bears played on Saturday. They just played on Monday, so they got a quicker turnaround than the Bears do. The only thing that kind of concerns me about that game is you just kind of alluded to it is McCaffrey against our linebackers. I love T.J. Edwards and him as far as his ability to plug gaps and stop the run, but time and time again, whether it's Aaron Jones, whether it's Jacobs, whether it's Gibbs, he's always on the losing end of some wheel route to a running back, down the sideline, and I could just see it. I could picture it right now. McCaffrey burning him for a big game. Him and Edmonds, but Edmonds before he got hurt was having an All-Pro type of year. Hopefully, him getting back in there is a boost. But McCaffrey's the one for me that's like, I can see that being, the thorn in the side for them come Sunday night for sure. I don't expect, Purdy to light them up for 300 plus yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns like he just did the Colts. I don't expect that, but I can see McCaffrey being an issue.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're gonna lose. I'm just saying I'm not gonna be pissed if we do. Granted, it depends on how we lose. I'm just saying if we go out and have a hard fought game and just don't come up on the winning end, but if we do some dumb stuff, like what the hell,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll still be mad. I say that now, but I'm sure I'll still be mad.
Well, I guess real quick before we transition off, what's your prediction for a Sunday night?
I was listening to the radio on the way here too. San Francisco's 3-point favorites and they're at home, so that usually means it's like a deadlock. So I'll take the Bears. I'll have the Bears winning. Probably I'll have them winning by about a field goal. I'll probably take like a 24-21 type of game, something like that. But I am prepared for it to be 24-21 if the 49ers win. I'm prepared for it, but I see us riding that adrenaline right now. Hopefully we get Rome and Luther back, and if that is, then I think that significantly changes the outcome.
Yeah.
What about you?
We Bears 27-24.
So the same. You got a 3-point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's gonna be a tough one because they look damn good this past weekend. I mean, the Colts have been on the decline, especially Phillip Rivers didn't look too bad though. But I'm not trying to change the subject, but they look damn good. So to be determined. Hopefully next week when we come back, New Year, we have some good stuff to talk about for the Bears.
Anything you want to touch on with the CFP playoffs?
Except for your boys, there really wasn't any good
3-1 in the picks for me, 2-2 for you.
Yeah, yep. Wait, no, I only lost one game. I lost the Texas A&M game because I picked them to beat the Hurricanes. No, you're right. I had Oklahoma.
We both had
win.
Oklahoma.
Yep, I had Oklahoma win. Yep, 2-2.
Yep.
Yeah, those picks. I knew Tulane and James Madison weren't going to win, but I thought they were going to put up a little bit more of a fight. Just like, hey, remember the old school Boise back in the old days? But no, that wasn't the case. Now it's going to be, all right. Let's reform the college football playoff.
Oh yeah, it's going to 16 next year, and they'll find a way to adjust the rules so none of those group of 5 teams ever sniff a playoff ever again. Like that's probably what's coming, in the off season, next year in these coming months for sure. But
I got a question for you, man. And just I mean, not to prove a point, but I'm just genuinely curious. You have vivid memories of the 01 year when they won, right? Being a fan that year. Did they win again after that? Or is that the last time they won? 01.
That was the last time.
So, how does this year feel compared to that year? As a fan.
Definitely doesn't feel anywhere close to that because that 01 team is probably the greatest college football team of all time when you look at the roster, top to bottom.
But a lot of that, I feel like a lot of that is like, it was great. It was undefeated for a reason. But I think a lot of that is more so like in hindsight, so many of them ended up making it to the pros. You're like, damn, that really were stacked. But like, they were undefeated, right? And you were the excitement. And I know you have a couple losses this year, but like
undefeated and for the most part, most of the games weren't close. They were.
It was like one or two
taking
games that was
from
within 10 or something.
Yeah, from pillar to post, bro. And, obviously when you try to compare that to this year, like you said, they lost 2 games that they shouldn't have lost, and even some of the wins were, Notre Dame. They beat Notre Dame by 3. Even though for a lot of that game it felt like a more dominant performance from Miami than just a 3-point margin, but it was still, at the end of the day, it was still just a 3-point win. And some of the other games, so no, there's no comparison for me. The thing that they have going for them this year is they run the ball and their defense is incredible.
Yeah.
So if they can kind of limit Jeremiah Smith and some of those, him and Tate and some of the offensive weapons for OSU, they'll be in it. They'll have a chance, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, is it too soon to speak my truth about my I was gonna say if our coach was focused a little bit more, I think we had more of a better chance against Ohio State. We started off that game really, really damn well. And even seeing them against Indiana, they're a very beatable team. I'll be a very happy man if this time next week Indiana beats Alabama and you all beat Ohio State. I'll be very happy. But I asked you that just because, I mean, I always go, I feel like a grumpy old man with it, but like, man, it's the passion for college football. It's not there for me as much as it used to be anymore. And it has nothing to do with my team because, like I said, we're about as good as what I thought we would be this year. We're exactly what I thought we would be, but it's
a whole lot of other things that's happening with your favorite team.
That's what I was talking about. If our coach was focused, man, it might have been
there's a whole
different.
lot of other things happening that I would understand why the excitement for you.
But, no, actually, that kind of, well, it's a cluster of emotions, man. But
a cluster blank.
Yeah, man, it is what it is. But not even that. It's just like, okay, so I've always preferred college over pros. I've always been a Michigan fan over the Bears. Maybe even still. I feel like I have more emotions tied to Michigan. Just like, yeah, it hurt when the Bears lose, but when Michigan lose, especially when you're down, it hurts, man. It's just different.
You got a lot of hurting to come in the years to come then, for sure.
I don't know, man. I think if we can hold the core together, I think we'll be all right, man.
There's some cats getting ready to jump ship, starting with the quarterback.
We'll see. We'll see. If it is, man, if it's meant to happen, it's fine. It is what it is. But I mean, I transitioned to, like, it's just, I think the college football playoff, I think it ruined it for me, man, because I'm not caring about as much of the games that don't even include my team anymore. Like, I would rather watch a random NFL game now of 2 teams, elite teams, a Sunday night football game most of the time. That's usually the best game of the week, than 2 elite college teams. And it's just because, like, now college is the same as the NFL. It's like, yeah, the regular season means something, but not as much as it used to. And now the college football playoff, they can't even get it right. So that's not interesting. So what do I have to look forward to? It's a less important regular season and a flawed playoff. And my team isn't that good. So what is there to be like, oh man, I can't. No, I'd rather watch NFL. If I'm gonna watch a regular season that's not, it was 0 undefeated or 1 loss, or you had no chance of getting a national championship, even with the 14 playoff. NFL, I'd rather watch professional guys do that. So I don't know, man. I like I said, I probably sound like a bitter old man, but I think college football, the playoff, man, it kind of just ruined it for me. And I'm not just throwing in the flag or throwing to like, I give up. It's just I prefer watching NFL games now, and that's never been the case in the entirety of my life ever.
Well, so down to 4 games left. How do you see it, or do you not even have a care in the world to pick them?
Well, I will also say this, man. I think this year there's a lack of marquee team, right? I think Indiana is probably the marquee team, I guess, right now, right? And no shade to Indiana because I think they're playing great, but they're not Alabama. They're not Ohio State. They're not Georgia. They're not one of the heavy hitter teams, Oregon, like usual. So that could be a reason why. But I honestly think if Indiana plays their game like they can, I think that'd be cool. I think if they were to win, they're not the franchise team. I know you would like your boys to win. I wouldn't mind. I've never been a Hurricanes hater at all. I've never been a Hurricanes hater. The only Florida team I don't like are the Gators. That's it. I'm cool with Florida State. I'm cool with Miami. So I really want y'all to win this week. Like really want y'all to win. So I could see Indiana versus Miami in a national championship game. I think that'd be a game I would want to watch. I would get excited for that. What realistically and unbiasedly, you think you all got a shot?
Oh, for sure. As long as Carson Beck doesn't do anything to give the game away, I think they'll have a shot. He didn't last week. He, didn't put them in any positions. He didn't turn the ball over and get other teams short field. So that's why they were in that game and they were able to, to pull it out at the end. But this is a different beast now when you're talking about Ohio State and the coach and the talent and the allure of the program as a whole. It's a different beast in Texas A&M. So, we'll see. But I'm picking them to get the upset. Picking Indiana over Bama. Probably take Texas Tech over Oregon, and just because I like the way that defense plays, Texas Tech, they offense leaves a little to be desired, but defensively they fly around and they can match the speed of Oregon on offense. And then probably give me Georgia over Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss got
the easy draw.
Put the pause on Tulane a few days ago, but that's not Tulane that's going to be lining up on the other side. It's Georgia this time, so give me Georgia in that game.
The only game we disagree on is I would take Oregon over Texas Tech only for experience purposes. Only. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if Texas Tech were to win because all the reasons you said too, but that would be the only game we would differ. You took all over Ohio State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're pretty much lined up with exception of one game. So, we'll see. Hopefully we get some exciting games. Hopefully all 4 teams that have a bye don't all lose this year like they did last year. Hopefully they figure out what the problem was, whatever was that layover or whatever. But Miami coaches. This is someone that enjoyed the last 4 years of dominating the Suckeyes. If you bully them in the trenches, they fold. It's that simple, man. If you get them to fold in the trenches, they pucker up and they run. They have extremely good athletes on their team all over. Doesn't matter where they're at. They're all extremely good athletes. But if you hit them in the mouth early, that's it. That's all it really ever takes. They play different, man. It's that Mike Tyson. Like, you can have a game plan until you get punched in the what is it? You get punched in the face. It changes up.
Mm-hmm.
So, in Miami, they're known for that kind of football. I don't know about it anymore, but I know a lot. So back in the early 2000s, late 90s, so if they play that style, Y'all got it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game because a lot of people, tout, Ohio State as having a really good defensive line, but Miami has, one of the better offensive lines in the country, and they run the ball really well.
Got the best lineman in the country, supposedly.
Yeah, best right tackle. Then, on the flip side, you got the two best D ends in the country.
Arvell.
Really good D tackles. So, it'll be a great game to watch, strength on strength, and see who ends up on top, man.
My Michigan fandom will be rooting for the Hurricanes this week. So don't not very often we're on the same rooting side when it comes for the college. So
for sure,
I'll be there chanting. Anything else you want to touch on before we head out? By the time we drop this, it'll probably be after the holiday. But
yeah, for sure. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody out there, everybody who supports. To you and your family, of course.
Same
Amber,
to you, man.
You and your family, of course. And, more good stuff coming in 2026 from us.
Yeah. Hopefully this
rolling,
Bears
man.
train keep rolling. Lots of good stuff to talk about. Been dropping lots of good content online. So if y'all haven't, check out our TikTok. TikTok's been busting lately on there with a lot of good stuff. Facebook, as always, Instagram, YouTube is where you find our full episodes. But wherever you need social media content for anything Bears or anything sports related, we got it for you. We try to crank it out as fast as possible and as much as possible. So just give us a follow, a couple likes, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Amber, thanks again for the intro. Just double down on what CJ said too. Just hope you enjoy the holidays, man. You and your fam. Say with you, Amber. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. We'll be partying at our place. But yeah, everybody watching, just have a good holiday. Enjoy your new year and bear down.
Yes, sir.